Good morning, alumni and friend of Rowan University. My name is Dr. Ali Houshmand. I'm the president of Rowan University, and believe it or not, I'm standing in my garage talking with you. The reason that I'm standing in here is because unfortunately, due to pandemic, we cannot have the pleasure of having you on campus and experience homecoming the way we usually do, followed by football games and all the funs that homecoming brings. Unfortunately, this time we cannot do that, so we have decided to basically bring homecoming to you. And in doing so, I thought I'd do one of my crazy things. Some of you probably have heard about Houshmand Hazardous hot sauce, and where it came from, what is its purpose, how did I end up making hot sauce and all that stuff, and why would I want to demonstrate making a batch of hot sauce for you? Because I figure, while you're staying at home and trying to watch some playoff games or binge watch on Netflix, you probably want to kind of get busy, do something exciting, make some nice recipe and use it for all the good food that you make, whether it's chicken wing, whether it's cauliflower roast, whether it's soup or whatever. I basically use hot sauce for almost everything. The way that this whole thing came about was it started several years back when one of our staff asked me to make a batch of hot sauce, because in the past I used to grow these things myself in my backyard, and anytime I grew lots of pepper, I would make hot sauce with it. We just cook them and experiment things, and I love doing that. I love cooking. So this thing kind of took off, and one day I made a batch of them, and it went for auction, and auction was very successful, and then we made more batches and more batches. Next thing you know, this is now 4 years later, and we have our own farm, and we grow a large amount of peppers of various kinds every year. This year, probably, I grew close to 20 different types of peppers. You can see some of these jars where I put them in there, and I put vinegar, and I keep them for a beautiful color, as well as for eventual use in the middle of winter where there is no fresh one. So the way that hot sauce is made really is not a big deal. Anybody can take it. And it depends on whether, first of all, you like peppers or not. I think pepper is an amazing vegetable. It's really, really healthy and good for you. And the hotter it is, the better it is for you. Of course, for those of you who don't like hot sauce, it's uncomfortable. So I do like them, and you have to train yourself. You have to train your tongue. You start very mild, and you can really build your resistance to the point where you can take very, very hot peppers. I do grow very, very hot peppers that even one of them above average or even a super hot eater cannot handle. These are called Carolina Reapers. They are the hottest peppers in the world, and they can really do serious damage to you. So when we cook this thing, I urge you to wear gloves. Anytime you're dealing with peppers, that's the best thing. So what is the specific about my hot sauce? Specific about my hot sauce is that I use variety of peppers. I use some for heat, I use some for aroma, some for taste, and this mixture, plus the ingredients that I have developed over the years, in my opinion, makes the hot sauce very unique and very tasty. In fact, I have heard of people just using it as a, like butter, rub it, place it on a piece of bread and just eat it like that. The mild one, not the very hot one, because there are 3 layers of heat in my hot sauces. But my recipe is very specific, the way that I make it. There is vinegar in there, of course. It's called apple cider vinegar, Italian seasoning, a couple of garlic, salt, and ultimately when I'm ready to grind and make it into a mash or a sauce, I put very fine quality olive oil in there. So the process is basically I get these peppers, and I actually do keep the seeds in there, and some of you may have the impression that seeds are the heat. That's not the case. In fact, the plum is the heat, where the heat comes from. That doesn't mean that the seed is not hot. Seed is hot, but so is every part of a pepper. So we basically cut these things to pieces and dump them into a pot like this. And what I do is, as I said, all the peppers, after they're chopped to pieces, go into a pot, depending on and we were going to give you the recipe so that you know how much you want to put in there. And then followed by vinegar, Italian seasoning, salt, and garlic. All of them go together at the same time. And I stay there for an hour and a half until it's really, you can see that it's cooked. And as I said, the recipes will give you after 1.5 or a certain kind of intensity, as well as the level of what you call the wateriness of the cooked pepper in here. And once you get that, then you let it cool down. You let this thing cool down, and then you bring, where is my grinder? I have a grinder in here. So what I do is that I then get the grinder and bring it in and really, by the way, this one is now, I'm now moving from cooking the process, putting everything together. Now you get to the kind of a finished product in here where I have now grinded the cooked material after it's cooled down. Really grind it fine, and it becomes a very nice mesh. And then you gotta go back into the heat and raise the heat to about just under 200 degrees. And the reason for that is now, in terms of a storage, you can literally buy close to 2 years of shelf life without putting it in the refrigerator, as long as you can hot fill them. And you can go online or go to any store and buy any kind of jar that you want, depending on what kind of jar you like to store this thing with. Whatever, as long as you can fill them and close them so that there is no air going through, it gets hot filled. So the way that you do that, once it's ready, around 200 degrees, you basically pour into this thing to the tip, close the lid, and let this thing cool down. Once it cools down, it expands, and all the air is gone, and then you have this thing can last for as long as you want. Once you open, when you're ready to use, once you open them, whatever amount that you want to use, obviously the rest of it goes into the refrigerator. And this thing can stay for a long time. So, and the net product is, for me, there are these very pretty jars of pepper that I hope that some of you purchase. The purpose of this thing is, by the way, every penny that we sell these things, all of them go directly for a student need scholarship. We even cover the cost separately so that we can genuinely say that 100% of the proceeds goes for a student need. This has been a very rewarding experience for me and for many students who are my assistant, who actually work for me in the farm when we grow these things, when we pick them, when we deliver them to our production line over in Rutgers Food Center in Cumberland, when we are ready to cook, when we are ready to package, to sell, and to send to various customers who order them from around the globe, believe it or not. And the purpose of all of this thing, once you have your jar now, you're sitting at home and you're looking at watches when it's going to be 5 o'clock. Instead of doing that, you might as well kind of make some wonderful eggplant dip that I make. And if somebody wants a recipe of that, I'll be happy to provide to. Or here is cauliflowers that have been roasted. Here we have some cheese dip. Here we have pretzels and pita bread. Here is another dip. All of these things, depending on how intense you want it, you can either put it while you cook these things or cook it without hot sauce, and after add to it. I myself, for my own use, I use a hot sauce that is really hot. It's a killer. And what I do is I actually use a teeny little bit on a bowl of soup, and then that alone can knock me out. So if you really are into that kind of thing, you can make it very hot. And if you want to know how to make the really hot sauce, the intense ones, we have recipe for that one as well, and we will be happy to provide them to you. Probably are available online. I'll find out. But anyways, we have them, and I think you will enjoy doing that. I think cooking is relaxing. And also, you kill time. You kill time, and especially for guys, I think to show that you have some skills also extra that you can actually make a use of yourself is a good idea, because I know of some guys who cannot even boil water. So to be able to stand in here and cook something, it's something that I think is positive. So all in all, I as I said, I am sorry that you are not here with us to enjoy the homecoming. I look forward to hopefully having you here next year. In the meantime, please stay safe, cook as much as you can, buy some of our hot sauce. You can go online, rowan.edu/hot sauce, or you can go to Barnes and Nobles and you can order them. The beauty of them are there are three types. It's called Ali's Nasty, which is the lowest heat, and the middle heat is called Nasty Delicious. These are the names that I've came up with. And then the highest one is called Nasty Vicious. And Nasty Vicious is pretty vicious. Have a wonderful homecoming. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.